Good afternoon, Atlanta. Welcome to WCEG Network. We are Veterans Today, and you're watching the Worldwide Community Network. It is time, this Friday, it's time for WCEG Network Veterans Today. Myself, Herman Anderson, my co-host, Anthony Aiken, and we have a guest that will be coming on shortly, Reverend McGhee. Uh, you can subscribe to us by watching the YouTube channel. You also can watch WCEG Network.com. And our disclaimer is the topics and opinion of those of the show hosts and guests are not WCEG Network. They thank you. And we are also a nonprofit. We will give you the rest of the information regarding how to contact us during the show. So let's get started. How are you doing today, Anthony?
I am a blessed young man. And it's so good to see you, Herman, and to have our studio pro, Ms. Greer, online to keep us in check. But I just want to say it's a good thing to be alive. It's a good thing to be here with you as we continue to do our best to provide truthful information to our community and especially to our veterans. So again, my brother, good to see you, and let's get started.
Okay. We will, let's start talking about veterans' disability benefits. Our expert, Reverend McGhee, will be on shortly.
Very good, very good, very good. Yep, that's true, and I think it's very, very good because when he comes on to talk about it, I'd like to speak a little bit about some of the experiences that I've gone through in regards to the veteran disabilities and some of the benefits and compensation that veterans could, receive if they're willing to go through the process to make sure things happen. Because we always say that we need to keep the VA and the medical system accountable for what they do for the veterans. And remember that blank check they said we had?
That is correct.
The blank check. So we need to make sure that they cash that check. But it's going to be a process for veterans and their families to know about it, because if anything you really want, it's going to be a process to get it done. So I'm glad that he's coming on as a Veterans Services Officer to help us give information of importance to our listeners.
Okay. And as I keep up with the information, so do you, the process of getting in the system, filing the claim. And I will say that the VA is putting out more information, but it's not almost everything now is electronic, and
Correct.
it's not user friendly. And I get a lot of feedback about that, not being able to go to the website in the time. It's like a lot of situations in today's environment. People have stories sitting on hold for hours, and actually I had an appointment this week at my VA clinic, and I was there on time, but I ended up waiting 3 hours.
Yep. And that's the frustrations that we hear about, the individual horror stories that veterans report, not only the long wait time, but the lack of staff, the impatience of staff, conflicting information, increase in medication, which leads to a lot of other issues. So just think about a service person, a man, a woman, that's experiencing PTSD, and they run into a scenario where there's so much frustrations, and then we have altercations to occur, which could lead to suicide. And we know of many cases where veterans have taken their lives because of, they couldn't get mental health support, because the VA has poor mental health scenario based on staff, attitude of personnel, the inadequacy of the facility. There's so many things involved with that. So it's important for us to continue to let folks know that even though that particular location could present some problems, you still got to pursue it. But I agree with you, Herman. Everything now is so electronic that it's difficult for those veterans that are non-computer related types to get through a system that they don't understand. That's why it's important for them to have a veteran service officer, an organization to help them.
Well, that is true. A veteran service officer in technology. I'm trying to be nice. If if you're not doing technology, if it's not what you are dealing with at this time, ask somebody in your family, ask a friend, someone to help you with it. Because the veteran service officer, as you know, they plenty of people out there need help, so they can only do so much actually inputting it for you and monitoring. So,
I agree with you. I mean, you got to do your homework too now. You just cannot dump everything on them. You have to compile your medical records. You got to make sure that if you went to an outside medical source that you got those documents that you could put together with your VA-related medical records to provide that information to the veteran service officer so they can develop a roadmap, a rules of engagement to move forward. Because if you don't have those things in place, I guarantee you're going to get a computerized letter from the VA saying, hey, we have this information. However, we need XXX, or it's going to take 120 to 180 days. Whoa, what a blow up. You know what I mean? So if you don't have those things in place, man, forget it.
The famous denial letter.
Oh, we've gotten those, haven't we, Herman?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. As a matter of fact, my queen asked me yesterday about us putting in our rebuttal to a referral letter that is something that is so easy to determine, but the individuals making the records review missed out one key point, which would have made the situation go through easier. I'm legally blind. They forgot all of that. And so you get that denial letter, and then they say, oh, you got you have 180 days to a year to get it done. Well, the longer you wait, that stack just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger on their end. So that's something that we need to hurry up and get on so we can get into the system and let a VSO help us out.
Reverend McGhee, are you live?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just.
Oh,
listening.
he's here. Fantastic.
I'm just listening now because I think that we need to have this talk. Reverend Guy just left me, and he brought a rating decision that he just got, right? Now, Reverend Guy has been 100% since I got Reverend Guy 100%, I think about 15 years ago, probably. And we were following through with the PAC Act issues. He got prostate cancer, ischemic heart disease, and hypertension. Right now, this is all since he got the first 100%, and they just low rated him.
Low rated him.
Just low rated him. When I say low rate, meaning that the rating is below the facts of his condition.
Wow.
You want me to say that again?
Yes, please. That's
we want everybody to hear that.
They rated him below the facts of his condition.
Wow.
Let me kind of make it personal to you, Tom. You got a claim in, for the caregivers program.
Correct.
Which is a very new addition to VA benefits. I think it's about 7 or 8 years old now. The caregivers, and the caregivers program is designed really to give extra care to those people that are 70% above. So when you file the claim, you already 70% or above. So you would think that the system or the people that's doing your claim would pull all of that information on their desk. Period. And on the review of your files, that you have to do a review of the files. Now, this is the law that we're talking about. A review of your file, meaning that everything in your file is reviewed before they make that decision. Because what they have to bring into play is your eligibility. You got to be eligible in order to get the benefits, and the facts of your eligibility. Now, I read your rating decision, and I was automatically questioned because I know you, and I know that you are legally blind, but I couldn't see nowhere in that response of that reality.
Right, none.
Nowhere in that. Now, the first thing I think I asked you was, let me see what you filed. I want to see what you filed because, my first reaction to it, to any rating decision, is I want to see what the veteran filed in the first place, right? Now, that shouldn't be, well, that's not the normal response to every service officer, I want to know what you filed because I want to make sure that you filed that information into the system, even though it's in the system and it should come up automatically under review. It should be automatic, whether the veteran see it or not, because the duty to notify, the duty to assist is the basic to the claim system. If under review, when your file is under review for a claim, if the VA see anything in your records that's would mimic a disability, they should notify you. They have a duty to notify you that this might be a disability, and then help you develop the evidence to support that. That's the duty to notify and the duty to assist. They're like brothers, twins. They got to be put into action. What is happening in America today, and I think you can go to Yale University study suit right now. They're suing the VA for generational racial discrimination against Black veterans.
Say that again.
I don't want to say that no more because y'all got making me preach. I'm supposed to be doing the service officer thing today. I'm supposed to be preaching.
You can preach a little bit. They need to know that. But remember, our clue is we speak truth into the community. Remember that.
So what we are looking at now, and I just told Reverend Guy the same thing. Until we fight like we serve, till we fight like we serve, for these benefits that we have earned, they're gonna keep shortchanging us. They're gonna keep shortchanging. You got to remember that shortchange. That's the name of my book. That's the title of my book. But it was a con game. You laughing, Herman, because that was a con game. They got you caught up in the hope that you would get something, and then they rob you.
They rob you.
Reverend McGhee, Anthony's favorite, one of his favorite words is plan of operation.
Plan of operation.
So what are you suggesting that? What action, what plan should we have moving forward?
Well, the number one thing we should do is get these two senators that everybody's bragging about. We got elected in this red state. We need to have a meeting in Atlanta, Georgia. I ain't talking about in South Georgia. I'm talking about Atlanta, Georgia. with veterans that use the Atlanta VA and depend on the Atlanta VA every day.
Yes.
We need to have a town hall meeting. Yeah. Hold on for a minute. Let me let somebody in. I forgot I had another somebody coming. Just hold on.
Okay. Anthony, he was talking about getting veterans more politically astute to what's happening to us, and so what are your inputs on that?
Listen, that's extremely important because, like you talk about, you got to understand the rules of engagements and having your plan of operations. And the plan of operations is to go through the individuals that have the power to make change. And we have two senators that that we could make sure that they understand firsthand, first place, what the veterans issues are. So they're real. It's a reason why the Atlanta VA is rated at #1 versus #5, because there's no leadership involved to make things happen. And having a veteran die at the VA, have a severe illness because of bed bugs.
Yeah.
Come on, Herman, bed bugs. Now they've torn that facility down. Who knows when it's going to be rebuilt? Right now, it seems to be a stop work on it. So I really like what Pastor McGhee said. a duty to notify and a duty to assist. We need to make them accountable.
Well, see, now I'm back. That was a DIC that I was helping, even though she was my cousin. But you know, I mean, because you know, I think about where we at in Atlanta. All of us veterans are either neighbors or family, and we need to come together as neighbors and family. You know, in a town hall meeting, and maybe we need to have a meeting just among ourselves first to discuss these realities that we are up against. You know, you cannot overcome a system that's plagued with racism unless you call it out. You have to call it out. And we can document that racism and show it in a way that nobody can I mean, in your case is a perfect example, Tom. I mean, if you got the case under review, and your case was under review because you filed a claim, it was under review. Your record is all there before them, right there in front of the person that's handling your case. Why couldn't they see that you are legally blind?
Missed it. Totally.
I mean, so just because I asked you, I want to see what you filed. I'm looking at the duty to notify and the duty to assist. And I'm knowing that normally that's not something they do for us.
Right.
And I'm gonna give you a perfect example.
Sorry for interrupting you. Let me ask you one quick question, because I hear this all the time about an unmistakable error. What can be done? How does that work?
Okay, unmistakable error is this. The unmistakable error is an error that was made when the records is to the contrary. You know, you got a record. Now I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I got one DIC that we won that case under unmistakable error, right? Her husband died in 1985. She came to Atlanta and somebody pointed it toward me. We opened the case back up under the unmistakable error in 2019. They gave her the benefits, right? They said, okay, we made an error in 1985. What was the error? They failed to use his service records in making the decision. His service records. Your service records is critical to you making a right decision on a claim. They failed to use the information in the service record. So I pointed it out. They said, okay, well, boy, you got to reverse you. They gave her the benefits, but they don't want to give her the back pay. You know, she's supposed to go back to the era when the error was made so she could be made whole, right?
Right.
Now, what did the VA do with that? They came up with an alternative statement of the facts. We may know where, you know, how they do. The statement of the facts is not consistent with the record. Saying that the case was closed, now she got to show a new and material evidence why they should revisit that decision.
See, that's the okie doke.
Okie doke.
Let me get the street corner rap. That is the okie doke of the system. And it's unfortunate that we have to deal with someone who just views you as a social security number without any empathy of what it created for that family. If they made an unmistakable error in 1985, they should man up and take care of that family. I don't care how many zeros.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the zero.
They're looking at them zeros and they're saying, oh no, that's
Oh
wrong.
no. Oh no. I mean,
there
there was a similar case of a veteran from Vietnam that when I was in the blind rehab center that was injured in Vietnam in 1969. And it had something to do with a waterborne illness that he lost some of his, his body parts. And it took them from 1969 all the way to 2014 when he got into the VA blind rehab system to rectify their error.
Yeah.
He said when they finally got a check, there were so many zeros it scared him.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's why they don't want to take responsibility for the mistakes they I'm gonna stop calling them mistakes, but a racist stand that they take when they're dealing with our clients.
We speak truth into the community, Herman.
Yes.
You know, when they make these mistakes, they don't want to go back and correct them. So they'll make another mistake while you're looking at them. So this is why I'm saying, do veterans vote matter? Do they matter? We want the government to function the same way we functioned when we was given the service in the U.S. military. You know, I know if I didn't perform my duties as instructed, I got an Article 15. That was the first one. They took some of my little money. Then the next one, they talk about putting me out of the military for not being fit to serve. We got people running our government all over this country that's unfit to serve. And that's because of the way we vote. We going out for party politics. We got to get away from party politics and get back to having those people that we elect to represent the people. You know, this is the biggest problem that we got in the country today is party politics. And we served in the U.S. military without that stuff. I mean, we had the racism that we had to deal with, but we didn't have the politics. You didn't have to worry about whether the guy next to you was a Republican or a Democrat. You know that they was a soldier and they was going to perform their duties. We need people elected to government that's going to do the same thing the way we serve.
Serve the people, serve the people, serve the people.
Serve the people.
We got to speak that highly. I mean, there were times when you talk about racism, overtly or inadvertently, when you're in a command position and you're being investigated unbeknownst to you because of someone's quirk in their mind that you're doing something wrong. Just their own insecurities.
Yes.
To try and destroy your career. So we need to hold this system accountable for the actions, unmistakable error, not doing and dealing with duty to notify, a duty to assist, all those things. So I love the idea of a town hall meeting. Herman, let's take that on and make it a Veterans Today town hall meeting where we can invite the Oscoffs and we can invite the Senator Warnock as someone that could be an advocate for the 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia, just in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a hell of a voting block.
Listen, let me say this, Tom. If we could only get 1/3 of those veterans to vote for their benefits, we can win every election in the state of Georgia because of the way they done gerrymandered and got us thinking about the vote. We're the only population in the state that votes in the high 90s. Veterans. We vote in the high 90s. We go to the poll no matter what. But why are we voting? What are we voting for? We are voting for party politics rather than looking at the fact that we got a Congress right now that's trying to tax veterans' compensation benefits. Right this minute, that's what the Republicans are proposing, that they're going to tax underrated benefit anyway in the first place. You know, they should be trying to figure out a way to increase that income to veterans' families who have become disabled because of their military service. But what they do, they don't want to tax the super rich, but they want to tax us.
Anthony,
Okay.
to Anthony's question, it is yes, but back to your plan of operation, we need to put together one, put it together. So we know we're gonna, if we plan it right, we'll get good results. So
we got to plan it. We got to have rules of engagement.
Let me drop this on down, guys. Let me set that up for you.
Okay.
Why do I want to set it up? I sit on the Fulton County Veteran Empowerment Commission. Fulton County now, they're supposed to represent all veterans in Fulton County, right? So this would give us the automatic presence of some of the Fulton County commissioners. They'll have to come to this town hall meeting. We can get a library. And that's not going to cost us anything. What we have to do is get the time and the logistics all together you know, so that we can make sure that we get veterans, not just from Fulton County, but from all over the state of Georgia that want to be a part of this town hall meeting.
Let's do it, because the time is now.
The time is
The time is now. I mean, the infrastructure is broken.
the time is now. The
The
system,
infrastructure is broken. I was very disappointed in the VA system. What I'm sure you can associate with this. As a 20-year-old going to Fort Benning to be inducted into the military, there was one sheet in my medical record, one piece of paper that stamped ready to go.
ready to go.
Ready to go.
Mhm.
20 years old.
Yeah.
Preparing me to go to Vietnam. Fort Bragg training, get ready to go to Vietnam. Let's fast forward 26 years. And when I'm retired, my medical record is thick as my hand
Mhm.
with all of the things that have happened. And it took almost 2 years of due diligence to be rated. 2 years. Now just think about, Herman and I spoke early last year, where you had veterans records that applied for benefits and disabilities in a closet, in boxes, over 8,000 records, not even reviewed. How many of them died without even having their records looked at? How many records were looked at and their compensations were not true to their particular illness, as you said earlier? We need to make this system accountable, and the only way we do it, and I like what you said, that voting block. That voting
So
block.
I got one more item on this topic, then we're gonna move to all of my hot buttons, but we're gonna move to another hot button. And on this topic, in today's environment, there are some veterans and non-veterans that are debating whether the U.S. military and the U.S. government is spending too much money engaging in foreign people's business. It should be here. And the other part of it is getting people. The military is having a hard time getting bodies. So what can be done about both of those?
Now, let me say this. For real, Eisenhower told us why we have in all this stuff. You know, I mean, the general president, he said, if he left us with one warning: beware of the military industrial complex. I'm gonna let the colonel take it from there.
The industrial complex.
That's above my grade.
Yeah, that was real. Beware that. That was I can remember that. That was a powerful statement. That was a powerful statement. It's true.
That's above my pay grade. I was respectful. I didn't get that in that room.
So,
the colonel was in that room, so he can tell us a little bit more about why we keep seeing this. And it ain't just the Republicans, it's the Democrats.
It's the Democrat too. You know, it just depends on the party at the time. You know, the Republicans, I mean, the Republicans used to be Democrats, if you recall that. You know, Dixiecrats. So you have to understand the rules and game and understand the history. But yeah, that industrial complex was a big change under that era. And you know, we still have some effects of that. Even now, it hasn't changed much. You just have to understand it hasn't really changed because of the people in power and where their heads are. And remember, we only represent what, 1% of the population?
yes.
The smallest minority in America, but the most influential.
Influential.
You know, but we ain't using that influence to save our democracy.
Nope.
See, we pledged allegiance to the flag, right? All of us. But now, and we said we would fight and defend this country and its people against any enemy.
Any enemy, any foreign foe.
Domestic. Why are we so silent with these issues in our community today? I mean, let's look at automatic weapons in our community. I had a AK-47. I'm gonna just tell this story, and I'm gonna give back to you. Huh? I had an AK-47 that I took off a kill in Vietnam. They told me to plug it and I could have it, right? I got the customer and they told me I couldn't bring it in the country. I can go down the street right now and get an AK-47 fully operable.
And with rounds.
And I'm not gonna say anything about this, and my great-grandchildren are scared to go to school.
Yeah.
How many
You can buy the thing
my other part is because in my generation, I was in the media yesterday, and everybody wore. We all Vietnam era veteran, Korea veteran, and everybody was giving accolades to what the military did for me. I'm a country boy from South Georgia, finished high school, went in the military and so forth and so on. So, but the military is not being able to recruit enough people today. So what are your thoughts on that?
I love the idea of all volunteer military. But now I also believe that we should stand up for freedom and democracy wherever we need to, including in the United States first. But I believe that we should have a strong military and that we should be ready to fight to defend the democracy. But I also feel like that we need to do it in this country because we have been infiltrated. Our government has been infiltrated with autocrats that's been brought to this country by billionaires, global billionaires. 2% of the population don't have any right to have 90% of the wealth. But we got to start going along to get along. We got to start going along to get along. We got to change the focus of this democracy back to what it's supposed to be. Not letting people get into power and stay there for generations by gerrymandering the voting lines and suppressing the vote. Every vote should matter. Everybody should be able to vote without any kind of restrictions on that vote. And it should be counted like it matters. So I think we got work to do. We got work to do. And I appreciate you brothers on Veterans Today. Just keep on doing what you're doing, brothers. If we don't keep talking it up, ain't nobody gonna hear.
Okay, one comment on that is that I just got it starts in our school system, our social norms are today. Yes. So that's in the young people of today are, their priorities are different. They also, their skills are different. And it was pointed out that a lot of them that are finishing high school is not doesn't pass the entrance test to the military.
Well, you know what? Our producer, former military, just put something in our chat that I think is very, very important, and with some of the research on why the numbers are decreasing. We've had COVID-19 in the last couple of years, so there was a lot of concern there. Then the level of anxiety, the level of depression, and other mental health concerns have exploded among the young youth. And that's exploded because of experimentation in fentanyl and all kinds of different drugs, the stress of bullying in the streets and in schools, broken families. There's so many different things that are affecting the level of, as she says in this note, social isolation among these young kids, that all of that's coming into play where we're seeing decreased numbers of youth going into the military. Because you remember back in the day, you had choices. The judge would say, you go into jail or you go in the military. I don't know if that's happening too much anymore because of all of the situation dealing with kids, with drugs, one in fentanyl and the mental health issues that she mentioned. So there are a lot of things coming into play. The other point, obesity rates. Kids are not taking care of themselves. They're drinking all kinds of sodas, as we call it in the South, or drinks. There's a lot of sugar, a lot of salt. They're not working out. Look at the three of us. We're all under 200 pounds, and we're in our 90s.
Well,
You know what I
one thing on that is in the school. I mean, when we went to school, everybody had to take PE. They don't take PE anymore. So
Nope.
Now, Herman, I want to say this, Herman. All of this is because of the adults, not the children. Listen, if I used to sit at the table, when I used to like spinach, right? You know, my mom would put spinach on the table, and I would eat it. I couldn't even get up from the table till I ate it. See,
yes,
you
it's all about discipline.
huh?
It's all about discipline.
It's all about
And-
discipline and
and
teaching your children.
And also
Listen,
following
I tell people,
respect and authority, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, I can speak for my family. I won't go any further, but nobody want to listen to you.
But think about it a minute. Kids don't fear parents anymore. I was definitely afraid of my parents, like Pastor McGhee.
yeah,
You need spinach? When I saw spinach and green on the table, I didn't like it, but I ate it.
yeah, hey.
Because I knew I was going to get the beat down.
You know you ain't gonna get up from that table.
Oh, no.
Ate it.
Oh, as a matter of fact, even if I got ugly, my mom would say, no problem. I'll put it over here. It'll be here 3 days later for you. You know what I mean? So
Well,
they didn't give you a choice.
if I mouthed out too much, my mom was gonna send me to my dad, and he was gonna take care of it.
My mom didn't send me nowhere. She came with the scrap at the table sometimes. Because you know, I was picky. I was the only boy, so I thought I had some privilege in my family. I mean, you know, she used to tell me, well, Eldson, it's your time to learn how to cook. I got 4 sisters, that's a girl's thing. She said, well, ain't nobody gonna put up with you, so you need to learn how to be self-sufficient.
Well, you know, back in the day, you had to go outside and pick the switch off the tree and don't bring anything small.
And that was my grandmama. She'd make me go get the switch.
Get the switch. And you better not bring anything small back in here either.
She can make me go back and get a switch.
Okay, we can keep going on this and run out of time. So Reverend McGhee, you got to talk about our Piedmont project, because I'm a part of that.
You know, thank you, Herman. I mean, we get into veteran benefits so hard, we forget sometimes that some of those that went into the military with us paid the ultimate price. They didn't come home. Ooh, you know, but since 2015, we have been working on a project we call the Sons of the Vietnam War Memorial, which was designed to recognize in Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia, those young men that left this city and were killed in Vietnam, were killed in war. Every major city in this country have recognized that contribution of that song, except for Atlanta, Georgia. Well, being last don't necessarily mean, you know, sometimes the last is the best. Our memorial, we have gotten the grant for to build in Atlanta historic Piedmont Park. We have gotten all of the approvals from Piedmont Park Conservatory, from the City of Atlanta, and from the National Park Service to proceed with a design that we have for a memorial. It's going to be an open air memorial, and it's going to be on Piedmont Avenue in the park between 14th and 12th Street. Right now, we have been going around in Fulton County getting veteran service organizations to embrace this project as their own. Now, last week, we met with one of the most powerful, influential veteran service organizations in the county, the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association. These are lawyers, judges, most of them were, I found out how most of them was pilots in Vietnam, you know, navigators on ships. They came out to be corporate leaders, and a bunch of them were lawyers and judges now in retirement stage. I was at their meeting last Tuesday, because they have been looking at our project. what we've been doing, Herman, for the last 7 years. And they love it. They want to be a part of this project because they recognize that we are recognizing them.
Right.
We're recognizing all veterans that served and paid the ultimate price from Bush County. Why did we want to do this? The vision is that this could be a call to unity for our communities at a time when we need it. From the most rejected generation of veterans ever, no generation of veterans have gone through and experienced what the Vietnam era veteran experienced. You got to remember that war was 58,000 killed, not that many since, because of the way we fought the war. Now we want the hometown people to know the cost of war, in the hope that we can unite these communities to deal with the problems that we have in the community today, and to make sure that we move forward electing politicians that will study war no more. We have to make this meaningful to the people that suffered the most. And that's the communities from which these guys came from. If you look on Sons of Atlanta.org, you've got all of their pictures. You know, most of these young men never made it to the age of 21.
Correct.
That's something that every community have mourned, grieved, but they have never been honored in this city for that. Now we're about to do that.
Actually, it's just like that, unknown deaths, unknown service. Didn't know they existed.
Yes.
Didn't know they existed at all.
Yes. Now what we've been watching, this Atlanta Vietnam Veteran Association have been building memorials. They have built over 27 memorials in the city of Atlanta. But these were individual memorials coming from the elite of the community, the elite that served in the U.S. military. You know, so we was at the dedication in College Park. They was dedicating Colonel Bishop. And I reminded them that there were 16 other young men from College Park that we need to honor. So that's why they fell in love with our project. They realized that not just College Park, but from all across Fulton County. So they want to partnership up with us to help us finish this project. So it's a call to unity. It's a platform for us to voice the issues that we talked about in the first segment of the show today. These young men never became able to file a claim, but they died so that we could do so that we could have the benefits that we deserve, that the families and the community could have the benefits of our service. So this is why we are calling them local heroes that have never been honored. Now we're going to honor them. And we're going to tell their stories. Why did they serve? They served for that pledge of allegiance. They pledged it every day. They died believing that we would have a society with justice for everybody equally. They believe that, even though they know when we was serving in Vietnam, that was not a reality, but it was a faith that they exercised and they gave their life for it. So we are asking the Atlanta community, we are asking the state of Georgia, we are asking the USA to help us finish this memorial, to help us tell this story, because they need to be heard, especially now when we got crime ramping our communities, we got gun violence tearing up our children, and we got government that's not functioning for its people, all the people equally. So this is the platform. These are the Sons of Atlanta, calling from their graves. I hate to say graves. I hate to say it because it's something that I had to experience personally, because I was wounded in combat in Vietnam, and then I came home so traumatized that they wouldn't let me serve at Fort Bragg. They sent me to Fort McPherson in Atlanta to do my time. well, they really sent me there to get a medical discharge, but I refused it. So they put me on the funeral detail. So I actually had to bury, I had to drive that car to the houses of the families. When they saw it coming, they didn't want it. They jumped in the car, they brought the car because they knew I was a barrier of bad news.
I know it. I can see the emotion in you right now. I know it. I know it. And it's
let me, we're running out of time, so let me tell the people where we are. As you say, we've been working on this at least 7 years. And it's approved by the National Park Service. We have the land in Piedmont Park, so it's at least 50% complete. We have plans. We actually know what it's going to cost. We just are asking help in completing, because we as someone say, it's a divine intervention, and we're going to make it happen, and we want to make it happen as soon as possible. And my thoughts is that's why it's a project rather than a memorial. It is a memorial, but the project is, once we complete the physical facility at Piedmont Park, and one of your favorite ways you help the community is community involvement. So this is a tool to get all of the Fulton County and Metro Atlanta, and even people that are not even in it, involved in helping veterans and their families.
Pastor McGhee, we feel your pain. I mean, I'm just sitting here going through my own emotional feeling, listening to you. And I want to let you know that Herman and WCEG and all of the individuals behind this family and network support you in your gallant effort to get this thing moving. And this is a dream that's really driven by you and your passion, because you were there. You served, you were wounded, you're a Purple Hearter, someone that had boots on the ground. And here you are still fighting for the rights of veterans. So we salute you 150% and commend you for what you've done so far with this project.
Well, I thank you, brother. And me and Herman go back from the beginning of this, and before this, and back what we were trying to do before Lewis passed, was to bring all these veteran service organizations together in the area to address the VA benefits administration. We actually had we went up to Aiken office with the Atlanta 25. We wanted them to investigate the Atlanta VA. That they were doing the same thing back then, brother, that they're doing in your case right now.
Right.
So we got to make sure that these families are not shortchanged. They are not. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for what y'all do.
Thank you. And we just ran out of time. We had a great show today. I mean, I had 3 things on there. As a project manager, we accomplished them all. So to all our listeners, have a great weekend. Thank you, Anthony. You want to give your usual closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say again, Pastor McGhee, thank you. I will follow up with you and my queen on our situation dealing with the caregivers. And I think we commend you for wanting to provide that support. But to all our listeners out there, we just want to let you know that Herman and I and all the guests on this show are totally committed to you and making sure that we speak truth into the community in regards to what you need to do to get the benefits and compensation that you earned for serving this nation with integrity and honor. We are committed to that. We don't get any money for this. It's our passion. It's a passion. And we also want to thank the person that behind this mustard seed, Penny Rogers, for her coming up with the dream 7 years ago. And for this WCE network now, a family is rated as one of the top rated shows in the country with over 2.5+ million listeners worldwide. So well, you know, we're just a small part of that network, but we're a big part of that network from what we're trying to do. So, Pastor McGhee, we appreciate you 100%. Herman, for me, to you, it's still a joy to work with you. And to Ms. Greer, who sits behind the scene, but has a powerful role in keeping us together on the air. We salute her too. And just want to say thank you. And I hope that all of the information we put on this show helps just one person move forward.
Yes. Yes.
And we're going to keep it up, that we have that town hall meeting, Pastor McGhee,
Yes.
town hall meeting, that we can get these veterans together because of the strength that we have, not only here in Georgia, but in Atlanta, but throughout the state of Georgia to get things done. So we thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Good seeing you. Take care.